Welcome back to another video session of Math Matters. This is the second video in a series of videos in which we are looking at how to solve linear algebraic equations. In the first video of this series, we looked at how to solve an equation that had either addition or subtraction as part of the equation. We used the addition principle of equality. In this video, we're going to look at linear equations that have only multiplication or division in the equation. And remember, to be linear, there are no exponents on the variables. To solve these equations, we will use the multiplication principle of equality. Let's look at an example of one of these equations, like 3x equals 12. Hopefully, you can look at this and say, if x is equal to 4, then the equation would be true. Substitute in 4 in place of x. Do the math. 3 times 4 is 12. So 12 is equal to 12, which is true. Therefore, 4 is a solution for the equation. This was a rather simple equation, but if it were more difficult, it would be nice to have a process for solving for the x rather than just relying on our knowledge of multiplication tables or by guessing. To solve the equation, we can use the multiplication principle of equality, which says if a is equal to b, then a times c is equal to b times c. Multiply both sides of the equation by the exact same number or variable. Let's try this with using some numbers instead of the variables. If 5 is equal to 5, then if I multiply both sides by 2, 5 times 2 on the left is 10, and 5 times 2 on the right is 10, and 10 is equal to 10, and the equation is true. The multiplication principle of equality also works for division. If a is equal to b, then a divided by c is equal to b divided by c. Divide both sides of the equation by the exact same number or variable. If 8 is equal to 8, then divide both sides by 2. 8 divided by 2 on the left side is 4, and 8 divided by 2 on the right side is also 4. And 4 equals 4 is a true equation. Now let's look at how to use the multiplication principle of equality. Let's start with something simple, like 3x is equal to 33. First, look at what math operation is being performed on the variable. In this case, we are multiplying x by 3. So what is the opposite of multiplying? Division. Let's divide both sides of the equation by 3. 3x divided by 3 is just x. 33 divided by 3 is 11. Therefore, x is equal to 11. To check, substitute 11 back into the original equation for x. 3 times 11 is 33, and 33 is equal to 33. The equation is true. The solution to the equation is x is equal to 11. This time, let's look at x divided by 4 is equal to 21. First, what math operation is being performed on the variable? We are dividing. So do the opposite operation. Multiply. Multiply by 4. The multiplication principle of equality says what we do to one side, we must do to the other. Multiply both sides by 4. On the right side, multiply by 4. But on the left side, the equation is like a fraction, so let's multiply by 4 in fraction form, or 4 over 1. That way, if we reduce before we multiply, we end up with the 4's factoring out, and we end up with just x on the left side. On the right side, multiply 21 by 4 and we get 84. X is equal to 84. Now check. Substitute 84 in the original equation in place of x. 84 divided by 4 is 21. 21 is equal to 21. It works. It is true. Now let's crank it up a notch. Let's look at 2/3 x is equal to 4/5. This time we are working with fractions. If I look at what is happening to x, mathematically speaking, x is being multiplied by 2/3. So then we do the opposite of multiplying by 2/3, we divide by 2/3. Now remember, in a previous video, how do we divide fractions? You actually multiply by the reciprocal. So in this case, the reciprocal is 3/2. We need to multiply by 3/2. Now, the multiplication principle of equality says that if we multiply one side of the equation by 3/2, then we need to multiply the other side by 3/2 as well to keep everything equal. Now, when multiplying fractions, always try to simplify before you multiply. So on the left side, we have a 3 on top and a 3 on the bottom. Factor those out. We also have a 2 in the denominator and a 2 in the numerator. So we'll factor those out. On the right side, we have 4 on top and 2 on the bottom. Both can be reduced by dividing by 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 2 divided by 2 is 1, so it factors out. Now let's simplify the equation. On the left, we factored out all of the numbers, only x is left. On the right side, we have in the numerator 2 times 3, which is 6, and the denominator is 5 times 1, or just 5. The solution to this equation should be x is equal to 6/5. To check, take the original equation and substitute 6/5 for x. This time we can reduce the 3 and the 6. Both can be divided by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1, so it factors out. 6 divided by 3 is 2. Now, take what's left and multiply straight across. 2 times 2 is 4. 1 times 5 is 5. We end up with 4/5. 4/5 is equal to 4/5. So this is true. Therefore, x is equal to 6/5 is a solution for the equation 2/3 x is equal to 4/5. Hey, let's try one more equation, just a little harder. 2.5x plus 0.4x equals 15.2 minus 3.6. The first thing that you should do when you start to solve an equation, always simplify both sides of the equation. In this case, combine like terms. All of the terms on the left side are variable terms of x, so combine the coefficients. 2.5 plus 0.4 is 2.9. So we have 2.9x. All of the terms on the right side are constant terms. Once again, combine the coefficients. 15.2 minus 3.6 is 11.6. Both sides of the equation are now simplified. Look at what mathematically is being done to the variable x. It is being multiplied by 2.9. The opposite of multiplying by 2.9 would be to divide by 2.9. Multiplication principle of equality states that if we divide the left side by 2.9, then we need to divide the right side by 2.9 also. So 2.9 divided by 2.9 is 1, which will leave just x on the left side. 11.6 divided by 2.9 on the right side leaves 4. X is equal to 4. To check, start with the original equation. Substitute 4 in place of x. 2.5 times 4 is 10, and 0.4 times 4 is 1.6. The other side is 15.2 minus 3.6, which once again is 11.6. 10 plus 1.6 is 11.6. And 11.6 is equal to 11.6, so it's true. Therefore, x is equal to 4 is a solution for the equation 2.5x plus 0.4x is equal to 15.2 minus 3.6. Congratulations! Once again, you made it to the end. Have a nice day.